Yes, robots may eventually replace us. But for now, the whole world can see just how desperate businesses are for workers of the human variety and the broader economic consequences of human shortage in the labor force. Companies are raising wages to attract talent, which in turn is helping boost inflation. What has happened is that people are no longer looking for jobs. Instead, employers are the ones looking for people to work, an unbelievable reality if you ask me. Let's go back to where it all started. Many agree that COVID-19 pandemic came with a truckload of economic consequence. Because of this, it is easy to forget that the COVID-19 pandemic started as a health crisis. Since the onset of the pandemic, labor shortages have become a big concern for businesses across all industries. In 2021, more than 47 million workers quit their jobs, and employers are struggling to find the workers they need to grow and thrive while trying to keep their employees engaged. Also, of the nearly 50% of small business owners that have job openings they haven't been able to fill, 93% report having few or no qualified applicants. Before we go into the effects of the labor shortage on the broader economy, let's see how workers in the labor force are coping. What activity do you think people spend most of their time on? Well, on average, people spend 81,396 hours of their lives working. The only other activity we spend more time doing is sleeping. This is why the impact of labor shortages extends beyond employers to their workers. A survey found that 73% of workers feel their employer does not understand the frustration that comes with working. When discussing the survey results, Scott Blumsack, Chief Strategist Officer at Monster Worldwide Inc., stated that while a lot of the research has gone into the labor shortage's impact on businesses and business owners, less has been done about how it impacts workers. He explained that, when a company is understaffed for an extended time, the available workers become increasingly prone to errors such that customer service levels drop and employees become frustrated and resentful. Here are some facts on the effects of the current labor shortages on workers. 66% of workers feel they are experiencing burnout. 60% verbalize feelings of emotional detachment while at work. 49% expressed anxiety. 38% are working extra hours without appropriate compensation. 34% are experiencing physical symptoms such as headaches and body aches. And 19% consistently feel miserable. Yet, as markets continue to stabilize and production levels slowly rebound to pre-pandemic levels, companies from around the world are yet to get past labor shortage. In fact, studies show that by 2030, there will be an estimated shortage of 85 million workers around the globe. There are a number of factors across economies that have caused the ongoing talent shortage. But before we go into that, let's correctly define what labor shortage means. What is labor shortage? Typically, a labor shortage occurs when there are not enough available workers participating in the labor market to meet the demand for employees. For example, in the previous year in the United States, there were nearly 11 million job vacancies, but only 6.5 million workers were listed as unemployed. Although it is very much pronounced in the U.S., this high level of job openings is not only affecting employers in the United States. For example, as of early 2022, employers in Europe were struggling to fill over 1.2 million open job roles, while employers in Australia are working to fill nearly 400,000 vacant positions. Also, in 2021, Singapore saw 163 job vacancies for every 100 available candidates. Now, what are the factors responsible for the labor shortage? Although the COVID-19 pandemic is not the only cause of the labor crisis, it often gets all the credit. So, first on the list, COVID-19 pandemic. It would be impossible to discuss the current labor shortage without acknowledging the global pandemic's role in it. As of March 2022, WHO has reported more than 6 million people deceased due to pandemic-related issues, while millions of others are dealing with the long-term effects of the virus. This factor alone has caused major disruptions to workplaces around the world. But that's not all. The lingering global pandemic has spurred a number of challenges for employers and employees, including mental health issues, immigration disruptions, and shifts in workers' expectations. Another force propelling labor shortage is low wages. While some workers are leaving the workforce altogether, the majority are simply changing jobs due to better job opportunities. Some are leaving for higher salaries. In fact, according to research, 62% of workers around the world rank salaries as the strongest motivator for changing jobs. Also, the ongoing labor shortage has created a candidate-driven market in most areas of the world. Many employees and job seekers are requesting higher wages and improved benefits. However, these wage increases vary across the globe. For example, 100% of countries in North America expect to see wages rise in 2023, while only 92% of countries in Latin America, 78% in Asia Pacific, and 50% in the Middle East and Africa expect to see salaries increase. It is therefore quite sad to know that in some areas of the world, workers' pay increases may not be enough to cover the cost of rising inflation. For example, in the United States, hourly wages rose by 4.7% in December 2021, but inflation rose by 7% during the same period. For workers in these areas, increased salaries are even more important. To salvage the situation, it is important for employers to focus on enhanced benefits as part of the overall employee compensation package. Competitive salaries aren't the only thing workers want. According to our research, they also want a healthy work-life balance, job security, and pleasant work environments. Another factor impacting today's labor shortage is the world's aging population. For years, employers in many countries have had concerns about replacing record numbers of retiring workers. For instance, in the United States alone, 10,000 people per day reach the 65-year-old threshold for retirement, and this rate is expected to continue until at least 2029. The aging population is expected to increase in the upcoming decades. Studies estimate that by 2030, 1 in 6 people in the world will be aged 65 or over, and by 2050, this number will double. On top of this crisis, birth rates in many countries are falling. The combination of an aging population and a falling birth rate means that there will be fewer people available to work. Additionally, further studies have revealed that by 2050, China's working population will drop by 20%, and in Japan, the working population is expected to fall by 40%. This issue is not isolated to just China and Japan. According to UN and World Bank statistics, 75 countries already have fertility rates that fall well below the desired replacement rate of 2.1. This issue will continue to plague employers for at least the next few decades. One other notable factor responsible for labor shortage is the lack of technological skills. Already, 87% of global employers admit that they are struggling with skills gap issues or expect to within a few years. While the loss of skills and experience through retirement is certainly a contributing factor, the main cause of the skills shortage is the integration of advanced technology, artificial intelligence, and automation in the workplace. While this emerging technology definitely helps to streamline business processes and improve workplace efficiencies, it also requires workers with the skills to operate it. This is not a new challenge facing employers, but it is one that has intensified since the pandemic. With so many companies struggling with production and supply chain challenges during the pandemic, there's an increased push for automation in the workplace. This increased use of technology in the workplace also creates an increased need for companies to acquire the right tech-related skills. Having considered the causes of the labor shortage, what impact has it had on world economies? The ongoing labor shortage is not only affecting the growth of businesses, it is also affecting the society as a whole. For example, supply chain disruptions have already resulted in product shortages. In some areas, the labor shortage has also resulted in the closures or reduction in working hours of stores and restaurants. The most disturbing effect of the ongoing labor crisis is rising inflation. While there's still some debate on whether labor shortage contributes to inflation, many experts believe that today's labor shortage, which is already resulting in increased wages, higher prices, and slower post-pandemic recovery, is no doubt adding to the inflation. Also, labor shortage, especially one that involves skills gap, can prevent businesses from implementing emerging technology. A new study reveals that 64% of organizations list the labor shortage as the #1 roadblock to implementing new technology, compared to just 4% back in 2020. Because, well, new technologies cannot be used if there are no workers with the necessary tech-related skills. The labor shortage is a major challenge that could last for decades if nothing is done about it. Gratefully, economists are devising solutions that would help salvage the situation. If you want to get updates on this, do subscribe to this channel. Also, please like this video. See you in the comments.